Hello my little storm clouds, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Today we are building a medieval town square, I maybe call it, a little like village area. And this is a part of my fantasy save file. I'll just briefly go over what I'm doing for this save file. So currently I'm working on Willow Creek, but I will be building on every single lot in every single world, including all of the expansion packs, since I do have all of the worlds. I think this is my 6th build in Willow Creek, so there's still a fair few to go, but once Willow Creek is complete, I will be uploading the save file to Patreon, and it will be going live for paid members first, but only for 1 week, so don't worry if you can't afford to support me, please don't, because it will go up like live a week later. And that will be going up once Willow Creek is fully complete. And then every time I complete a new world, I will upload a new save file so you can download it. And if you can't download a save file, say you're on a console or you just don't like downloading save files, I will be uploading every one of these builds individually. So if you don't want the full save file and maybe you just want 1 or 2 of the builds, you can just download a couple of the builds. And they will be going up on the gallery at the same time as when it goes free on Patreon. So currently in Willow Creek we are focusing more on more of a human world within the fantasy world. So it's very basic builds. We've got like a blacksmith, a tavern, but we will be adding more magical builds in other worlds. I still may add a couple in this world. I suppose I have my fortune teller and I've got a few magical things within that build. But I wanted to start off a little bit more easy and go with the human world for Willow Creek. And I will be trying to hide things around it, so if there is something that looks a little bit too modern, I am going to use tool mod to try and hide it as best as I can. I know in my last place that I built, it was one of the neighbourhoods, there was like a city skyline in the background and I couldn't get anything with tool mod to go that far back, it would just disappear. So you still can see a bit of the city skyline, which is super annoying, but I did manage to cover a couple of the fake buildings using Tudor style fake buildings, so it blends in a little bit better. I'm going to see if I can cover the roads with anything. I don't know if there is any sort of like debug flooring where I can sort of like drag it across using tool mod, like I said, to cover the roads to make it look more cobblestone. I did say I was going to try this out when I did my last build and I totally forgot, but I will be trying it out. If not, the roads will just have to stay the way they are and you'll have to use your imagination. So let's get into this build anyway. So the main entrance is what I built first, and I wanted this to be like a clock tower. So I do end up doing this 4 high and I do place a clock up at the top as well. So we have that main entrance there where you can walk through, but there is other entrances all the way around. You can see there's even a little gap down the side of this building here, and there's a few more around the place also. I did a lot of sections where there is overhangs. This is quite popular in Tudor style homes, which is a lot of the style that I'm doing is that Tudor style. And walkways or bridges from buildings seem to be quite popular when I was looking through images of medieval style buildings, so I did include a couple of them as well. And I've done like the town square section in this portion here where you can see I have the clock tower. And I have a little market stalls. They're not 100% complete. This is just the exterior that I've done with some detailing. But when it comes to doing the interior, when I decide which build is going to be what, I will do some more exterior detailing as well. So whatever the building is inside matches on the outside. So I will be doing a little bit more detailing. So it's not incredibly detailed, but it's fairly detailed. Again, with a lot of the builds I've done on Willow Creek, everything is very flat. I have not messed with the terrain tool at all. And I do want to create a couple of villages where it's more like up a hill and play around with the terrain a bit more. But terrain in The Sims 4 is an absolute nightmare, but I will end up doing it eventually. But for a town square, I felt like it would be very flat, so I sort of was happy just keeping it that way. And also, like I've said in my previous builds, if you have any suggestions for builds to be in any of these worlds, it doesn't just have to be Willow Creek, you can gladly comment them down below. I might not reply to you, but when I've seen people's ideas, I have been noting them down in a spreadsheet and trying to like decide what sort of worlds I want to place them in. So yeah, any suggestions are welcome, even if you have a like storyline for families, because each one of the builds that I'll be doing, I have created a family or a single sim depending on what the story is for them, and I will be like leveling up the skills and stuff so it matches what the build is. It will be like a complete save file. Everything will have a description eventually. Not everything does yet. I will go back in and fill everything out as much as possible. So if you're not sure what builds I have already done, we started off with a fortune teller's wagon, and then I moved on to a nectar maker's wagon because I wanted to keep like the wagons sort of in the same area. I then made a blacksmith's and then a tavern/inn. And the build that I did just before this was just a standard Tudor medieval style house. That's quite small and dainty, and we've just got a little couple in there that have like sell produce and like goat's milk and stuff like that. Anyway, back to this build. So here I'm building a bridge across. I already did one on that angle as like a bit of an entrance, but this one just leads to another part of the village under here. And I ended up doing a stable on this back corner because I did want Sims to be able to be here with a horse, and a horse can still like feed and sleep and everything like that. I just feel like horses and cats and stuff would have been a big thing back then, because obviously cars weren't a thing. I do like to keep these lots off the grid, but the annoying thing is with this one, because I wanted different variations of lights on different buildings to make them look slightly different, I did end up using some of the lighting that looks like it should be like old-timey, but it's actually using power, so I didn't make this one off the grid, sadly. And I'm also going to apologise for the camera bobbing, because some of the buildings are so high. My camera just kept bobbing all over the place, so I do apologise for that. I tried to change up the different colours of wood on those panels, so I had some darker woods, some more orangey toned woods, as well as the lighter coloured woods, just so the buildings looked slightly different, and I tried to do the buildings in slightly different orientations and shapes, again just so everything looked slightly different. I'm also more than happy to take suggestions on what should be inside of these builds, because it's going to take me some time to interior these. I've already got a couple of ideas, like I'm thinking maybe a little bakery in one of them. Even though I already have a blacksmith's, that is its standalone thing, I still might have maybe a weaponry place that sells like swords and stuff like that. Maybe try to figure out something that looks like a shield. I know swords are in the game, but I don't know if a shield is in the game. I don't think it is, but I can figure some out that looks sort of like a shield. I feel like I'm going to have some form of like pub or tavern type thing, and it might be that corner build because it's a little bit larger than the rest. And I think what I might do is like the bottom parts of the build be the businesses, and then above would be where the Sims live. And I think I might have to set this as a rental place, because I want a lot of Sims to be here, and that's the only way to have loads of Sims in there without cheats. As well as it being like each Sim has their own business and house, so it sort of works. So unless you've got a better idea on how to do it, I think I might have it as a rental. I use this well in the centre, which is from, I think it's from Debug. And I think it's from Cottage Living, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, there's too much stuff in the game. But yeah, I used that in the middle of the town centre, and I did go ahead and add like hay, the hay rug, all over the place, like horses had been treading through and got mess everywhere. I also put manure down on the floor because I thought that would be funny. And I tried to do a mixture of different size houses, so some of them are 3-storey, some of them are 2-storey, some of them I did on foundations. You can only do this if you have them separate from the other build, otherwise they would all go up together. I really loved building this. I've never done anything like a little village with multiple homes or businesses on, so it was really good fun to do. And surprisingly, this didn't take as long as my tavern and inn build, but I think that was because that was so complicated with the different shapes of roofs and the shapes of the rooms that I went for. This one, because I hate round rooms so much, I just avoided them altogether. I also hate rooms on a diagonal, mainly because of the staircase issue, but I sort of solved that with the diagonal places that I did do. There is straight walls that are like horizontal, so I can still put staircases in against the wall and stuff like that, because it super annoys me that you can't put stairs on a diagonal. Down the back here, I decided to add some water as I didn't want to add another building in. I just thought there was too many, and I used this wheel, which does actually turn when you change it over to live mode, which I absolutely love. If you've watched any of my underrated items videos, like my shorts, you will know I love anything where it adds movement to a build. So in this build, I also added loads of chickens around the place, as well as wild rabbits and flocks of birds to add some movement to the build. If you can think of anything else that would add movement that would work in this build, please let me know, because god damn it, I love it when there is movement. It just adds so much life to the area. I added some roof decor with these little Tudor style roof pieces, and I do want to go ahead and add a few more chimneys. I love adding chimneys to builds because when you light the fire, the chimney will release smoke, and again, like I've just said, with the movement, the smoke adds some movement to the build. So I'm just building my clock tower here. I wanted to just size this up, but then there's that weird glitch where you can see through it, so I added another clock over the top. And it is actually down through the floor, but there's nothing in there, so it was fine me just putting it in the floor. And then I added a couple of little market stalls. I did use tool mod to tilt the table so it looked like the table was faced towards the customer. And this one here is like a little produce stall, so I've added loads of like veg and fruit. And then I also did a nectar stall, which I haven't placed anything on the table yet. I started to, and then I removed it because I wasn't happy, but I will go in and add a few things to that. And then I also did another stall just around the corner from the little produce one. I do want to add some more stalls, but I'm not 100% sure what sort of stalls. The one that's around the corner, I might make it like a fabric stall or clothing stall. So here I am just adding loads of hay and stuff around the build. I also added the chicken coops around the place, so when I put the chickens down, they've got somewhere to go on a night time. And then I'm just adding the last details, and that is pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!